Alright, so you want to get into long-range precision shooting, but you have no idea where to start. Well, it sounds like you are in the same place that I was about 5 years ago. And I've told this story before, how back when I knew that long-range precision shooting was something that I wanted to get into, something I was very interested in, had no idea where to start. I'd watched a few videos, didn't have the money to really afford all the equipment and all the things that I needed, so what I could afford was a Remington 783 hunting rifle. I've done videos on that particular rifle, and I actually still have one more video to do in the budget precision series that I did with that rifle. But because I couldn't afford all the equipment, I couldn't afford a high-end rifle, I went out and I bought what I could afford was Remington 783 and 308. And I used that to get my start into long-range precision shooting. And it is by no means, if somebody was to ask me today what rifle they should buy to get started into long-range precision shooting, a budget hunting rifle is absolutely something I would not steer them into. But like I said, it's what I could afford at the time, and it's what I had, and I made it work. And on top of that, I had to gain knowledge somewhere. Well, since I could not afford to buy a high-end rifle and all the equipment that goes with it, I definitely could not afford to take a precision rifle class. And on top of that, back then, it's gotten a little better now, but back then, precision rifle classes were few and far between, and they were so spread out that living here in the Midwest, I would have had to have not only spent the money to take the class, but also had to travel a fairly long way just to take the class, all the ammo, all the expenses, everything that goes along with that. So I did what most people will tell you that you cannot do to learn and get proficient at a shooting discipline, and that is I learned everything I know from the internet. Now, a lot of people will cringe at that, but I'm here to tell you it absolutely can be done. I am by no means an expert at precision rifle shooting, but I will tell you, I have no doubt, and I feel very confident in saying that I am very proficient at it. If you guys watched any of my videos, I have, over the past 5 years, have gained a lot of knowledge and had learned how to apply that knowledge in the field and find out what works and what doesn't. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, is how, if you're in the same boat that I was back then, and you can't afford custom rifles or taking classes or all the other things that go along with the very expensive hobby, because it is an expensive hobby, and the more I've been able to afford it, the more money you sink into it. If you are in that same boat that you can't afford all that, where do you go for your knowledge and your info on how to progress yourself into long-range precision shooting? Well, I will tell you also that you guys are in a much better spot than I was those 5 years ago, because nowadays long-range precision shooting has become so popular that there is a lot more places to gain really good knowledge. But there are also a lot of places that have really bad knowledge, really bad techniques, and things that just flat out don't work in the field. And so one thing you need to know is how to weed those out. And I also will tell you, had I back then saved the money up and taken a precision rifle class, I probably would have saved money in the long run, because it takes a lot of money and ammo and time spent in trial and error to figure out what actually works than it would have for somebody to have taken me and explained the basics. Now, I've been asked many times if I would do classes, and I'm not totally opposed to that, but I'm definitely in no place to do that right now, as far as I don't think I would have enough people on top of just having the time to do it. So what I do is make these videos to share the knowledge that I've gained, to give people a good set of knowledge to progress their long-range precision shooting. And so I hope that's what I'm doing with a lot of these videos. Now, how do you weed out what is good knowledge and what is bad knowledge? Because there is absolutely a lot of people who have a lot of kooky and wacky and just wrong ideas and perceptions and things that they will tell you that work in long-range precision shoot. If it's a channel that you don't see, that all the person does is talk about precision shooting, but you never see them make videos actually shooting precision, that's somebody that I'm not going to listen to. That's one of the reasons that not only do I really enjoy it, and I enjoy making the long-range precision shooting videos, but that's one of the bonuses that I get from that, is I feel like doing those precision shots and those extreme long range shots and all the things that I do makes it so that it's acceptable, that people understand that my knowledge that I'm putting out there is going to help you progress in your shooting as well. So when you look around and you see somebody who is doing videos telling you what will work and what won't, and you're not seeing them doing shooting videos themselves and showing how things work, then you can almost guess that there's not a lot of shooting actually being done there. So therefore, there's not a lot of actual testing these concepts in the field. So it's kind of hit and miss on whether it will actually work. A lot of it's stuff that they've heard people tell them, and they're assuming that it works. And in long-range shooting, there is no assuming anything. It's test and verify. On top of there being a lot of bad sources, there are a ton of really good sources. There are some very trusted names, and if you can glean knowledge off of some of these very trusted names, that's somebody, these are people that I would listen to. It's people that I've gained a lot of stuff that I have found that actually works from. So people like, I'm sure if you guys know anything about precision shooting, Brian Litz, he's the ballistician for Berger Bullets. He runs Applied Ballistics, which is my preferred ballistic solver, and he is a ballistician and a precision rifle guru. He runs a ballistics lab. He tests these things every day, and he knows and gives out good information on what actually works. He has a book, which is a great source of information on. I think he has a couple books now, which are great sources of information on things that actually work and why they actually work in long-range precision shooting. There is Emil Praslik, who is the wind coach for a lot of the King of 2 Mile, a lot of the guys that shoot the King of 2 Mile, the extreme long-range comps. I think he also works for, I know he also works for Berger Bullets. And he is a guy who, I think he was also the Army Marksmanship Precision Rifle coach for a while. He is a guy who has a lot of really good knowledge, that when he shares that knowledge on videos or podcasts, he's something that I personally listen to. And if I hear a new nugget of information that he gives out, that's something that I would, when I have a chance, try that out in the field as well. You have guys like Frank Galley, the guy who runs Sniper's Hide. He has a podcast and a YouTube channel. I think he also does online training that you can pay for, which if you can't get out and go to a training class, that might be another option. And he's kind of the guy that really teaches solid fundamentals. And he's a guy that I have listened to and paid attention to over the years, on how to perfect my fundamentals in precision shooting. So these are just a few of the guys that when I'm trying to gain knowledge, and if I hear these people say something, I can be pretty sure that that's coming from a place of actually doing it and not just hearing it. So on top of there being a lot of good information, a lot of bad information, there's also a lot of outdated information. So just over the last 5 years that I've really been extremely focused on precision shooting, there has been a lot of information that has been proven to be outdated by a lot of the names that I just said, and by a lot of other people, and just by me verifying it in the field that some things that used to work, there are better ways of going about it. So a lot of it, if you see something that's an old bit of information, like a video that came out 6 or 7 years ago, or a podcast or whatever, because I listen to a lot of long-range precision podcasts, a lot of YouTube videos, a lot of forums and chats, and I take all that stuff in and try to figure out the little nuggets out of all of it, and then go out and test it and figure out what works. There's a lot of stuff that goes around that is old, outdated information that has been over the years proven wrong, and some people just don't realize that, so they regurgitate it, or it's just old and been sitting on the internet for so long that it still gets used, and people assume that it's still good. So also figuring out what stuff does work, but there are better ways to go about it, is something that you kind of need to look at. And like I said, not always trust. You always have to verify that what you're hearing is information that is actually good and actually works and actually will help you progress in the best way possible. So once you have started to gain the knowledge of precision shooting, and you're starting to work on testing these things, where do you shoot? Not everybody, I am very lucky. I do live here in the Midwest. One of the only perks of living amongst a bunch of cornfields is the fact that there's a bunch of cornfields to shoot in. So that's why I have these huge long stretches. Not only do I have the 3,000 yard plus field that you guys see me make most of my videos in, but I can go the opposite direction from my house 15 minutes and there's another 1,900 yard field that I have access to shoot in whenever I want. So that's one advantage. So if you live in a place like I do, there's lots of farmland, finding a farmer, befriending a farmer, or just going and knocking on a farmer's door and saying, hey, you know, I don't mind, I'll keep track of your land. I will make sure there's no riffraff in and out of your land. I'll coyote hunt out here and keep some of the varmints away if you allow me to shoot here. Or if all you have access to is a 100-yard range, there is a lot of good information and good skills that can be learned just shooting at 100 yards. If you can get yourself to where you can shoot a group, a half-inch or better group at 100 yards consistently, then that once you do have the ability to take that out and try it out in the field, you will be a step above the guys who have just jumped right into trying to shoot at distance. So these are the ways that I have went about progressing my precision shooting and the avenues that I have went to learn the things that I have learned over the last 5 years and consistently got better and have figured out over the years, like I said, what works and what doesn't. And I can guarantee you that it is not impossible to learn to be proficient at almost any shooting discipline from the internet. Another big thing that you can do is videotape yourself shooting, because videotaping yourself shooting will teach you a lot about what you do wrong. If you can understand the fundamentals and then videotape yourself doing something, then you can see where you are not completely fundamentally sound. So if I can do it, I guarantee you anybody out there can be just as proficient as I am at precision shooting from data that you gain just off the internet. So that's why I try to make these videos, to help people progress in their precision shooting. Don't always just listen to me. There are plenty of other sources of information, and if I am the only person you're gaining your precision shooting information off of, then you're missing out on a lot of other really good information. So I hope this is helpful. Hope you guys are progressing your precision shooting. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.